Okay, let's get into this. A huge Champions League semifinal second leg coming up. Arsenal traveling to Paris Saint-Germain.
That's right. Wednesday, May 7th, Parc des Princes. PSG are holding a narrow 1-0 lead.
Just that one goal from Ousmane Dembélé really early in the first leg in London.
Yep, fourth minute. Set the tone, really.
So for this deep dive, we've looked at some really interesting pieces. ESPN had quotes from Declan Rice, Luis Enrique too.
And there's a good preview predictions piece from the playoffs we dipped into as well.
Right. So what's really riding on this? For Arsenal, it's massive, isn't it? Trying to overturn that goal, get to their first final in, what, 19 years?
Almost 2 decades. A huge, huge ambition for them. And for PSG, well, it's the one they always want. Their second ever final is in sight. And, despite all the money spent, this is the trophy that keeps escaping them.
So our mission here is to kind of unpack the thinking on both sides, the tactics, maybe look at what the predictions are saying for this absolutely crucial match.
Makes sense. Let's maybe start with Arsenal's perspective, heading to Paris down by 1.
Yeah, Declan Rice, he's been talking about needing, well, magic moments was the phrase he used.
Ah, okay. What did he mean by that exactly?
He pointed back to the quarterfinals, his free kicks against Real Madrid, those moments of individual brilliance. He said a semi is set up for someone else to maybe get that magic moment. Makes you wonder who steps up for them.
That's interesting. Acknowledging that, yeah, the team plan is vital, but sometimes you just need someone to do something special, especially if PSG maybe sit back a bit.
Could be vital. Who on that team has that history? Saka, Martinelli.
That pressure, it brings up the psychological side too. Wayne Rooney, he made that comment after the first leg, didn't he, about Arsenal maybe having a psychological fear of winning the big trophies?
Yeah, that old narrative. It does seem to follow them around a bit, even after a strong season. That final step sometimes looks, well, tricky for them.
But Rice hit back at that pretty quick.
He did. He brought up their win against PSG earlier this season in the group stage, 2-0. Said it proves they can beat them.
That's a fair point. Though he did note, didn't he, that PSG were missing a couple of key players then?
Yeah, he mentioned Dembélé and Kvaratskhelia weren't playing in that one. So, maybe not a perfect comparison.
Still, a win's a win. It must give them some belief, surely,
Yeah.
knowing they've scored against them before.
And Arteta, he's looking back too, trying to get them to remember that quarterfinal win against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu.
Right. Tapping into that feeling of defying the odds away from home. He wants them to believe they can go to a tough place like Paris and get the result.
He had that great quote, didn't he, about being a win away from being the Champions League final in the most beautiful city in the world. Pure motivation talk.
Focusing the mind. And tactically, Rice seemed to think they figured some things out in the first leg.
Yeah, he said they felt they understood how to cause PSG problems, and they did create chances. The finishing just wasn't there.
Right. Creating them is one thing. Converting them, especially in Paris, that's the challenge. Do they need to maybe change how they attack, try something different?
Good question. Okay, let's flip it. What about PSG? Huge news for them on the fitness front.
Oh, yeah. Ousmane Dembélé. He's fit. Past fit after scoring that winner and then getting that muscle injury scare.
Massive relief for them.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique confirmed it. He's such a key player.
And Enrique himself sounds like he's really pushing a different kind of team idea this season.
Yeah, less about the individual superstars, more about the collective.
Exactly. He keeps talking about team growth, spirit, tactical maturity, moving away from just relying on 1 or 2 big names. He said he wants to build a unit and focus on improving the process.
It's a shift, for sure. We saw bits of that in London, didn't we? The playoffs piece mentioned their compact shape, aggressive pressing, and controlled possession.
Yeah, that seemed to work well. They frustrated Arsenal, stopped their rhythm. How did they manage that possession so well, do you think?
Seems like the midfield was key.
Yeah.
Dictating the pace, short passes, not letting Arsenal get the ball back easily in dangerous spots.
And the fullbacks tucking in, maybe? Keeping it tight? Arsenal will need a plan to break that control, won't they?
Definitely. And Akrafakini, the defender, he was talking about showing their personality and pressing high, making the Parc des Princes feel like, their house.
Standard stuff for a home leg, make it intimidating. An early PSG goal could really ramp up that pressure on Arsenal.
But here's the thing. Luis Enrique, despite having the lead and the first leg going well tactically, he's predicting a completely different game.
Oh, really? That throws a spanner in the works, doesn't it? What could he mean?
Exactly. Is he expecting Arsenal to just go all out from the start? Or maybe PSG have a surprise plan, a tactical switch?
It certainly adds a layer of intrigue. He's not expecting just a repeat performance then.
Okay, let's widen the lens a bit.
Right.
History. ESPN had a stat that's, well, not great news for Arsenal.
Yes, the home first leg loss stat. Only two teams ever in the Champions League era have lost the semifinal first leg at home and still reached the final.
Just Ajax in 96 and Spurs in 2019. It really highlights how tough this is. What made those comebacks happen, do you think? Sheer willpower? Tactical genius?
Probably a mix of everything, plus maybe the opponent freezing a little. It's rare for a reason.
And looking at the clubs themselves, PSG, just that one final appearance, the loss to Bayern in 2020.
Right, and Arsenal, just the one as well, losing to Barca way back in '06. In Paris, ironically.
So the desire to get back there must be immense on both sides. For PSG, they've already got League One wrapped up. This is everything now.
All focus on Europe, the pressure from the owners, the fans, it's intense.
And for Arsenal, after Liverpool pipped them to the Premier League title,
Yeah.
well, this is their last chance for silverware this season. Ending empty-handed would sting.
Yeah, this feels like more than just reaching a final. It's about validating their whole project under Arteta, proving they belong at this absolute top table.
All right, let's look at those predictions from the playoffs. What do the odds say?
Okay, so as of Monday, May 5th, they had PSG as slight favorites to win the match itself. Around plus 105 for PSG, Arsenal out at plus 230, and the draw plus 260.
Makes sense. Home advantage, the lead.
Yeah. And they highlighted a couple of interesting over-under bets, too. One was total goals under 1.5 at plus 350.
Ooh, it's suggesting it could be really cagey. PSG defending the lead. Arsenal may be cautious about conceding again.
That's the thinking. But conversely, they also flagged Paris Saint-Germain, total goals over 2.5 at plus 250.
So acknowledging PSG could just blow them away, use their firepower to kill the tie.
Exactly. Two quite different potential scenarios there. Which feels more likely after the first leg? Hard to say.
And player-wise, who are they tipping?
Well, Dembélé to score is at plus 145. He's their top scorer in the UCL this season, and maybe they see a weakness in Arsenal's defense without Gabriel. Timber maybe not fully fit.
Makes sense. And for Arsenal?
Bukayo Saka, he's at plus 310 to score. He's their top scorer in the competition, back fit, absolutely crucial if they're going to turn this around.
You think he has to have a big game for Arsenal to go through? And the final prediction from the playoffs?
They landed on a 2-2 draw.
A 2-2 draw, which means...
PSG go through 3-2 on aggregate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it suggests they think Arsenal will score, maybe even twice, but that PSG will respond. Would be dramatic.
Definitely. So boiling it all down then, Wednesday night, what are the absolute key things to watch for? What swings this?
Okay, first, can Arsenal find that magic moment Rice mentioned? That bit of individual quality?
Yeah, can someone produce something special? Second, I guess, is PSG's new team ethic. Does that hold up under this kind of pressure?
Exactly. Does that tactical discipline Enrique's been building really work when the stakes are this high?
And how much does that early goal in London still play on Arsenal's minds? Can they shake that off?
Mm-hmm. And then there's the tactical battle. Arteta versus Luis Enrique. What adjustments do they make? Does Arsenal go for it early? How does PSG react?
And finally, those key players we mentioned, Dembélé, Saka. The performances could just be decisive, could they?
Absolutely. Big players deciding big games.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we're set for an absolutely fascinating Champions League semifinal second leg. So much tension, so many storylines. Arsenal need to climb a mountain, overcome that deficit, maybe a bit of history too.
Well, PSG, they're looking to drive home that advantage, prove this new approach under Luis Enrique is the real deal on the biggest stage.
It's all happening Wednesday, May 7th. Kickoff is 9 p.m. Central European time. Should be a cracker.
Definitely one not to miss.
And just one final thought for you to chew on. Considering everything we've talked about, the pressure, the tactics, the star players, what single thing do you think will ultimately decide who goes to the Champions League final? Is it going to be that moment of individual brilliance, or will it be the stronger, more cohesive team unit that wins the day?